with the people who looked at it, we now have their emails?
Well,
so friggin' obvious, one of them said. And
another day, another cover-up exposed. Once again, the so-called experts and their media lackeys thought they could gaslight the world, but they just got ripped apart on live TV. Absolutely brutal. Welcome back to the channel where we cut through the noise and expose the truth the mainstream media desperately wants to bury. If you're tired of being lied to, smash that subscribe button and stay tuned. Things are about to get heated. The moment the first question hit the table, the gloves came off. British and German intelligence reportedly knew, and with a 95% certainty, that COVID was a lab leak back in March 2020. Andrew Sullivan wasted no time in torching the official narrative. He referenced a bombshell revelation from a new book, COVID's Wake, highlighting that the key paper, the proximal origin paper, backed by Fauci and Collins, was a deliberate lie. Sullivan pointed out how scientists initially said, "This looks very man-made to us," yet within days reversed their stance to publicly deny any lab involvement. The blatant deception wasn't just scientific cowardice, it was political manipulation at its worst, as Sullivan declared.
The New York Times said any questioning of this being from a lab was racist.
The trigger? Sullivan exposed a coordinated effort to shut down legitimate inquiry, all to protect powerful institutions from facing the consequences of their own reckless experiments. When Ezra Klein tried to soften the blow, it was embarrassing. Klein floated the idea that Anthony Fauci might not have acted maliciously, saying,
I also don't think he did it for nefarious reasons. There's an argument to be made. There's an actual intellectual debate to be had. Should gain-of-function research be done?
Klein clumsily attempted to paint Fauci as someone who simply made the wrong call, downplaying the catastrophic consequences. But Sullivan wasn't having any of it. He hit back hard, exposing how Fauci knew from the start that the Wuhan lab had security levels comparable to the average of a dentist's office. Even worse, the NIH and NIAID had helped fund the very research that possibly unleashed a global pandemic. The weak defense crumbled under the weight of cold, hard facts. This wasn't about an honest mistake. It was about protecting reputations and political agendas, no matter the cost. Andrew Sullivan ripped the entire facade apart with brutal clarity. He pointed out how in 2015, global experts already flagged the Wuhan lab as the most likely place for a pandemic to start, years before COVID even appeared. And yet, with this clear and present danger known, Fauci doubled down on funding gain-of-function research, the very type that created enhanced viruses. Sullivan summed up the whole charade perfectly.
actually lie and distort what they could see with their own eyes because they were afraid of politics.
It wasn't just about science anymore. It was about manipulation. It was about silencing anyone who dared ask questions. It was about branding legitimate inquiries as racist while hiding the catastrophic truth. Scientists failed us and then tried to cover it up. Even more damning. Sullivan explained why.
So you don't want to go down in history as the person who helped develop the virus that killed millions of people. You want to go down as the one who saved millions of people. That was at stake, a reputational matter.
It was a reputational cover-up at a global scale, and we, the public, were left paying the price. Ezra Klein himself admitted one brutal truth that every American should find chilling.
And we are genuinely less prepared for the next one than the last one.
After everything, the lockdowns, the deaths, the chaos, the system learned nothing. No bipartisan commission, no major policy overhaul, no new best practices to prevent a future catastrophe. Instead, just more infighting, denial, and incompetence. In Sullivan's words,
I agree with you on
If we don't trust the scientists, who on earth are we going to trust?
a chilling thought. And after the lies, the betrayals, and the arrogance we've witnessed, that trust is all but gone. When the dust settled, Andrew Sullivan dropped the real bombshell that made the entire panel sit up. He didn't just point fingers at the media or politicians. He nailed the entire scientific establishment to the wall. Talking about Fauci, Sullivan exposed,
No, he knew from the get-go that the Wuhan lab had security levels that were the average of a dentist's office.
and it got even worse. The NIH and NIAID under Fauci's leadership had helped fund the very lab where the virus likely escaped. The agencies trusted to protect public health were secretly bankrolling the same reckless experiments that caused the disaster, as Sullivan brutally laid it out.
So you don't want to go down in history as the person who helped develop the virus that killed millions of people.
This wasn't incompetence, it was pure, gutless self-preservation. The scientists and officials lied because their careers, their legacies, their egos were on the line, and the result, millions of deaths, destroyed economies, global suffering, all while the ones responsible clung desperately to their reputations. In one of the most devastating moments of the debate, Sullivan delivered the final crushing blow against Fauci and the establishment narrative.
If we don't trust the scientists, who on earth are we going to trust?
And that trust, once sacred, had been obliterated, not by the public, not by political rivals. If you're as sick of the lies as we are, hit that subscribe button right now, because we are just getting started exposing the truth they pray you'll never hear. Stay angry, stay sharp, and never ever trust them blindly again.